Perfection is within my hands. Or grass. Damn it! I almost had it right.
Now then, you might be wondering, what was with that intro? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a new part of the show that I came up with called Semi Perfect, where we take games that, or movies, or anything else that we thought were not quite perfect, but didn't fit in the wasted potential.
They are just too good. They still have problems because, well, the only thing perfect is Perfect Cell.
Unless you run up against Teen Gohan.
Quiet, you. But yeah, this is basically, we don't have enough flaws to bitch about or to correct, so we're just going to gush.
But we still want to talk about it because it's something for us both to enjoy.
Yeah, we're just going to gush about things that both of us feel are so good.
And as promised, the first one, Chrono Trigger.
Oh, yes. Oh, bless this game so much.
Oh, it does so many of the right things to tickle the fun bone.
Is that like the funny bone, only less unny? I'm sorry, I didn't know where to run with that. I just...
Well, right. I guess we should start with the background. This was a game released way back in, I think, 95. It was created for the Super Nintendo, also known as the SNES, or
Super Famicom.
The SNES.
The Super Famicom.
Yeah.
I like saying SNES. SNES is fun. SNES, 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 SNES.
This was what is commonly referred to as a JRPG.
And for a large majority of people, the king.
It's my king of RPGs. It's what I always compare most RPGs to.
It's good. I compare a lot of JRPGs to this one. It's not my personal favorite. It's really, really good, though.
Look, if you can at least compare to some of the things at Chrono Trigger, I don't think it's... It might not be a bad game, but you're missing something, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it may not be my personal favorite JRPG or RPG in general, but it's definitely in the top 3, and it's been in the top 3 since...
95?
No, I didn't play it then. I would have been like 4 or 5 then, so no.
Yeah, I don't remember when the remake for the PlayStation came out.
Yeah, that's when I first played it.
Now, I was actually, when I first got into it, it was the year, probably late 95. I went to Blockbuster. I saw this game with this awesome cover art that made me think Dragon Ball Z, because it was the art was made by the same creator, Akira Toriyama.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
What the hell's a Blockbuster? I'm sorry, I know what it is. I just wanted to make you feel old.
That's why I laughed, because I was like, I know he's joking, but for those of you who were unaware, Blockbuster is was a movie and game rental place.
Okay, it's basically like a Netflix. If Netflix was a store and you had to give it back.
But I rented it from there, fell in love with it. Later down the road, while actually no, this was nowhere near when Blockbuster was going out of business, but they sold the game. I picked it up for $15, a solid steal.
That is a solid steal. Like, I've seen people sell the SNES cartridge right now for $30 or $40. It's not worth that. You can still buy it cheap in a lot of places because it wasn't an uncommon game card.
Well, actually, funny enough, for a while it was before the reissues got released. For a while, you could see a cartridge for up to $100.
No, that's because no one was selling it. But once the re-releases came out, people were selling these because they thought they could make money off it. So it's not that hard to come across a decent priced one now.
No, it's not.
But re-releases, this became, like we mentioned before, the first re-release for it was a few years later on the PS1. It was compiled with Final Fantasy IV, which we first knew as Final Fantasy II, and Final Fantasy IV is the only SNES era game a JRPG game that I feel is better than Chrono Trigger. That's my personal taste, though. But to see 2 of my top 3 games bundled together,
Christmas came early.
Yeah, and that's how I first played it. A friend of mine who is a big Final Fantasy guy had this game. It was his Christmas gift. He already had Final Fantasy II. He didn't have Chrono Trigger, though. He never got a hold of the SNES version of it. But, yeah, I watched him play this version. I'm like, can I borrow this? And I think he said no because I may or may not have lost his SNES copy of Final Fantasy II when I was a fair bit younger. But anyway,
Shame on you.
oh no, I feel like the biggest jackass for losing that game. To be fair, though, he also accidentally lost the game I lent him as a return to favor. Like, we would exchange games, and we both lost the game for that time. So we're like,
So it evens out.
It evened out. Although, to be fair, the game I lent him was nowhere near as good.
Hard to compare to those two. They are titans among themselves.
So yeah, I did end up I rented the PS1 version of this game a lot. I totally didn't have a PS1 that was modded to play burnt games and didn't burn this game to play for ages. No. I wasn't that person. Not in the slightest.
Now, as I said, if you look at this game and you look at the art, you're going to notice a lot of similarities with Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, Akira Toriyama is prevalent in a lot of JRPGs. Ironically enough, for years, this was like the first Square game, SquareSoft game he did art for. But SquareSoft's biggest rival in Japan, Enix, he did their cover art for constantly. So,
yeah. Now, you might recognize both those names as the current Square Enix. Those two were originally two different companies.
And now they fused, and early Square Enix days were an awkward years.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about what we consider...
That's a different discussion altogether.
What we consider to be one of Squaresoft's greatest creations ever. And...
Now...
Wait, Soul. Does Chrono have to do with time?
Tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm not sure.
What's the story of this game we keep gushing about?
Well, it starts off in...
Let's do the time warp again! Sorry, I couldn't resist myself to interrupt you with that.
I will probably do worse jokes as we go on in this series of things we do here.
Yeah, this is a game about time travel.
Now, this sort of starts off in a sort of futuristic medieval place. And what I mean by this is that there's castles, there's
Knights.
peasants, knights, but you also got refrigerators, running sinks, or running water, sinks. I'm assuming bathrooms, but we never actually find one.
Tanks shaped like dragons.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those like medieval future tech areas that kind of leave you puzzled how anything works here.
It is clearly Squaresoft.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's part of its charm, and I love it for it.
Yep.
It's one of those things that you question why, but you enjoy it nonetheless, which is a joy in both ends.
Yep.
So you start off with our young hero who...
Insert name,
or has an actual starting name of Chrono. You can leave it as it is, or you can change it your preference.
Spelled without a H, so it's not his trigger.
No, but at the same time, the only reason they did that because they stuck to a 5-letter reference for every character.
Yep.
So whether or not it was originally going to be Chrono with an H or without, I couldn't tell you.
Yep.
Nothing really specific. As far as I know, nothing has ever come out to confirm that.
No, but I've never seen his name written with a H, so meh.
Well, unless they're misinformed, but that's a different story altogether.
That's just a video game in general, where the name of the game must be the main character's name. Yeah. Why can't Metroid duck? That's an old joke.
But so it starts off with him being woken by his mother. You're probably in your mid-teens from the looks of it.
Yeah, mid to late teens, I want to say.
And it's the Millennial Fair. It's year 1000 AD. 400 years after the defeat of the Great Magus, they have a celebration for both celebrate his defeat and the fact it's 1000.
Yeah! Go to the fair! Enjoy the festivities! Bump into a mysterious girl! Befriend her!
Befriend her, help her find her necklace,
eat some old man's lunch.
Don't do that, folks. You don't want to do that.
But it's delicious.
It'll get you sent to jail.
Yeah, you get sent to jail anyway.
I will talk about that in a minute. I do like that. But you eventually go to your best friend's science experiment. She's apparently some big, great genius as with every great genius in these games. Not every invention she has works, and people always remember the failures better than the triumphs.
It's almost like she's the weatherman.
Yeah.
But her invention for the fair is a teleporter. It will move you about 5 feet.
20 at most.
Which is still impressive. I mean, instantly transporting living things 5 feet. Man, that's a pretty cool marvel for a fair.
Especially considering their technology at the current moment, even by that standards.
And you jump in that teleporter, and nothing bad happens. And then the girl jumps in the teleporter, and then she rips open a hole in space and time.
I'd like to point out that I actually I glitched. I didn't glitch it, but I kind of avoided to have to go through it first because I was testing out talk to everybody, so she just does it before me, but still thinks I did it somehow.
Huh.
Yeah, if
Weird.
you just immediately talk to Marley, which is the girl's name that she starts with.
Yeah.
If you just talk to her rather than going to the teleporter, the scene actually skips you going through it and just has her still say the same dialogue, though.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I discovered that by asking because I was doing just talking to everybody just for fun's sakes because I never really did that before, and it just skipped. I'm like, oh shit.
My first time I just teleported myself like 15 times. Like, why is nothing going on?
But yeah, her magic reacts to the energy the machine's putting out. She drops the pendant and gets sucked into a portal, vanishing to never be seen again.
So you go after this mysterious girl.
Until you decide to grab the pendant and go after her. Good on you, Chrono.
The pendant's the thing that malfunctioned, and your friend Luca, the scientist, is like, oh shit, I'm in trouble now. I should come up with a more safe way of time traveling while you go and do this. So you go time traveling through this rift in space and time and end up 400 years in the past, where that war Soul mentioned about with Magus was going on. And turns out Meryl was discovered by the royal guards and thought to be the current queen because,
now,
wow.
Why would she be thought to be the queen? And why does she look exactly like the queen? God, why would that be? I can't even think of a possible explanation. M, you got anything?
Magic?
Works for me. But no, anyway, she's actually Princess Nadia, the current princess from your timeline.
Who looks exactly like her great.
I don't think genetics work like that.
Great. They do when you have limited options for character animations and character creation.
Fair enough. At least she has a different hairstyle.
Yes.
But the only way you're going to tell them apart.
Yeah. But yeah, you have to.
And I would like to note that I think this is one of the other things that maybe not so perfect or semi-perfect about is that she is the cliched tomboy princess.
Yeah, that's not a problem for me. The first problem, though, is because she was saved, her ancestor won't get saved, so she won't exist. And she actually disappears in front of you. And this is pretty much the only time in the entire game where you can grandfather somebody. If you don't know what the grandfather paradox is, it's basically you go back in time and kill your grandfather before he becomes a father, which erases you, which prevents you from killing your grandfather, so you can go back in time and kill your grandfather, and then you can't do it because you don't exist, and then you didn't kill your grandfather because you didn't exist to kill him, and it makes people's heads spin out of control. This game only seems to do this once.
Well, the thing about that is that it turns out that the original queen was still alive, so she wasn't axed out yet. You still have time to save her.
Yep, so you go on an adventure and save her with a giant talking frog.
Who calls himself Frog.
I love that guy. He has one of the best theme songs in video game history.
I should mention this, in the original SNES version, or SNES version, I say SNES because that's what common was said around here.
That's fine.
He spoke with a ye old English accent to whatever he said in the
with these and thous. And the only thing I dislike is post the PS1 era, they gave him just a normal speaking
dialogue.
Voice. And I'm like, people are like, well, how come nobody else in this era talks? It's like, I always thought that was purpose. He's not supposed to look like a frog. He's cursed. So I thought, the cursed was to also make him speak weird.
So did I. Or because he used it to disguise himself more.
Yeah, either that, like, it's the shame of being cursed into a frog. Don't want anyone to find out who he once was.
Yeah.
Plus, it added a bit of flair to him, and I like that. Now, if you think it was hard to read, I don't blame you. I'm dyslexic, and I had a hard time reading it. But anyway, after you save the queen and things are found out that she was not an imposter, no one gets mad at her, you all go back in time, and because the princess was missing and you were the last person seen with her, you get arrested. You break out.
Funny how Luca never got arrested for any of this.
I don't know. Maybe I like to think that no one wanted to arrest her because she might blow up the jail by mistake.
I'm just saying, you were the last person seen with her, but Luca's invention made you both disappear. I'm just calling bullshit.
How did you blow up half the jail? I was trying to make toilet moonshine.
But This actually is one of my two favorite starting points, or two major points for the game. First was the trial.
Yeah, you get arrested.
Your previous actions at the fair kind of depicted how the judges voted for you.
If you return the princess's necklace immediately, good points. If
you had to check on her first, then grab the pendant.
Okay, sorry. If you return a little girl's cat, you get bonus points. If you don't eat
the lunch.
Oh, come on, but it's moist and delicious. It's just ham.
Whether you're asked whether you or her started it, this was the one that always got me off guard. You have to say you started it. Because you started the interaction with the princess. She didn't try and come to you. I don't understand the process thinking. Maybe it's something I'm missing. But you have to say it was you. There's like two others I can't remember off the top of my head now. I'll remember it as soon as I start playing the game, but at the moment I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, you get arrested, and depending on your condition, you either get, jail time or execution. But then the chancellor decides to say, yeah, you're being executed regardless.
What a dick.
Yeah.
It's almost like this is corrupt in somehow.
Either you sneak out on your own and Luca meets up with you on the way out, or you wait the entire time before the execution and Luca saves your ass.
I'll admit, I always just snuck out because I couldn't stand sitting around that long.
I did because I was playing with a friend and he said it was the easier way of doing it, and I'm like, okay, because I wasn't very good at RPGs at the time.
Yeah,
largely due to the fact that I have a reading problem that I couldn't understand some things.
Oh, I understand it completely. I'm just saying, like, I just wasn't sitting around for this long. It's like,
yeah. Either way, your best friend comes and saves your ass. Which
I would just like to point out that if you do break out, apparently they locked you in the jail cell, but they did not remove any of your weapons.
Yeah, that cracks me up.
Because what you do is you irritate the guards by banging on the bars. They kick you back into the room, and then as he's turning around, you pull out your sword and knock him out. I'm like, did they not search you for weapons? Like, I know they don't appear on your character sprite outside of battle, but...
Yeah, where does a man hide a katana on him?
I have an answer for that, but I don't think it's going to be a comfortable one.
No. Anyway, you break out. You and Luca try and escape. Meryl gets upset at her father and the chancellor for all this.
I would like to say I don't know the exact consistency on how to say her name.
Yeah, then she gets upset and she runs away with you. The three of you find another natural rift in time, jump in it to get away from the guards, and end up in the distant future of 2300, where the world is dead.
Yeah.
And then you find out
and no, it was not Godzilla's fault this time.
No. Although it's something actually more destructive than Godzilla. But slower.
Yeah.
You find out from an old ancient recording that some sort of giant space porcupine, space
walnut,
space durian. Space durian. It's a space durian.
It's a spiky space durian. Let's go with that.
Yeah, breaks out of the Earth's crust and nukes Earth.
Yeah.
Just like nukes the entire planet.
It was slow bad, but when it decided to act, goddamn, it was quick.
And the only thing is called Lavos. The only reference of Lavos you know of is back in the year 600. That Magus in the war was trying to create a Lavos or summon a Lavos. So you've got to go back in time and prevent him from doing that. And this starts your...
While in the future, you happen to find another party member.
Oh, yeah, one of my favorites. Who is just so useful.
Yeah, he's actually pretty... We find a robot we name Robo.
Originality, thy name is. I love Robo. He's really damn useful. He's also the second person in your party who can heal, but he's also a tank at times.
Yeah.
Although he can't take a magic shot to save his life.
No.
Which makes sense. Magic and technology
never... Turns out there's this little thing that if you put 4 people in a magical portal through time traveling, you end up at the end of time. Wrap your head around that, people.
Yeah, so you have that's their logic for making your parties of 3, and I actually like that logic. They at least gave you a reason why you can't have more than 3 people in your party. They never give
a question about that later on in this, but I'll ask that when we pick it up.
Yeah, but anyway, that is your goal of your game. You make a few friends, you go back in time to stop this Lavos thing. And along the way, you keep finding out that, that person didn't make Lavos or summon Lavos, he's even older. So
you go back to
prehistory.
Prehistoric.
For various reasons, we're not getting into all reasons, and you meet the last major party member Ayla, the cave woman, who is
Like
your
strong
actual
people.
who is your actual party's tank, as in she hits like a tank.
And built like one, too, because she has muscle on her you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. And yeah, it's a lot of this game's story is too good for us to try and summarize. So that's the general plot of this game. You bounce around time trying to solve a mystery of where this space durian came from.
And you, spoiler, it came from space.
Yeah, it literally crashed on Earth, then dug its way into the Earth's mantle and hid there until the year 2300 AD.
Actually,
No, no,
it's to 1999.
Yeah, I remember that because it was basically pointing out the Y2K scare. If you don't know what Y2K is, god damn, am I old?
Hey, I'm older than you. How do you think I feel?
Side tangent: were you actually scared of Y2K?
No.
I wasn't at first, but everyone else around me started to get scared, which started to make me scared.
Eh.
But to be fair, I was 10.
Yeah.
Easy. When older people around you start to get scared, and you're like not even 2 digits.
Yeah. Process effect.
Yep.
But that's your general story behind this. We don't want to go into too much detail because we want you to go to this amazing game and play it for yourself.
Yeah, if you have not played this game, please rectify this.
And we do apologize if there are some plot spoilers. We do kind of go on more of a tangent with this and say things we may not mean.
But we're just so excited.
If you want to play this game first and then come back to this podcast and discuss it, please do so.
We're going to try and keep one thing a secret. It's basically, I'm just going to hint at Soul what it is so we don't mistake it. It's basically the fight on the important fight on the cliff that can be either...
Duly noted.
Yeah, we'll try and avoid that. But
I would just like to say on that side note still, just to not ruin it, but there is importance to that point because it leads into a 7th semi-optional character.
Yeah, he's optional or not. Anyway, that's also another thing that mentions up that this game is one of the first games I ever knew about that had multiple endings, and some of these endings have alternate versions. So you can, like, what is there, like 12 official endings?
I believe 12 recognized endings, 2 sort of spin-off endings that are canon.
Yeah. And this game is just... Well, not only is it... Okay, the characters are all well developed for a 16-bit era game. Well, you have to remember when this game was made. If you judge this game based off like, well,
graphics,
today's JRPGs. I mean, this game is what at most 20, 30 hours long.
Somewhere around there.
If you do every side quest.
Yeah.
Where most JRPGs today
60
to 200 hours. I know a couple are 200 plus hours. I'm like, gee, nope. Although
now,
I played that in 14.
Moving on, let's talk about the characters for a moment.
Sure.
We have our main cast first of all.
Yeah,
starting with the silent protagonist, Chrono. Yeah, he doesn't actually have any technical speaking lines except for like 2 in a side ending.
Yep.
Other than that, he just pretty much nods or shakes his head.
Yep.
Which there's this really funny thing when you first learn about Lavos in 2300. Tell Luca no and just read the dialogue for this. It's kind of funny.
I've never done that. I will have to do that. Yeah, the next major character I guess we'll talk about is Luca.
Mm-hmm. She is your scientific friend that you supposedly known for since
childhood.
I think it implies childhood.
Yeah, it's implied childhood.
The 2 things that are really implied. Chrono, like I said, seems to have some personality.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you're putting in because he never actually has any speaking lines or does anything outside of that.
The thing about Chrono uses a katana. What's her weapon? Laser guns.
Or a pea shooter.
Mostly laser guns.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of those funny things on technology in this game. So it's kind of like
okay, and that's a logical ranged weapon. What's the princess use? A crossbow.
No, my bigger question is how did the Stone Age people have the laser gun?
Yeah,
it's a trade for that.
Yeah, I will trade you several fangs for this laser rifle. Ugh. Thank you.
How are we losing this war again?
Yeah, every era is in a bit of its conflict, and you interact with it and help it. The humans in the prehistoric era are fighting dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. We'll get into that later.
Real scientific there.
But yeah, Luca is your childhood friend. She's a big technological. She pretty much makes the key to allow you to transport through the time portals that you can open and close without needing to open it with the necklace and not knowing where you're going.
Yeah. She stabilizes time travel.
Go her.
Yeah. Meryl is your next party member.
She is the tomboy princess, one of my favorite characters.
But also your de facto healer, which is a very feminine job in JRPGs.
Mm-hmm.
But I still love... She uses a crossbow as a weapon, but if she's really close to an enemy, rather than shoot her crossbow, she'll smack him with the butt of the gun.
Yeah, like you would with a regular rifle. Just go, kunk.
While Luca, if she's too close to someone to shoot them, she just takes a hammer out of her bag that she uses for inventing things.
I almost think she's playing croquet.
You know, some of the animations, now you mention it, does look like croquet, or I forget the name of that other game that's basically like croquet, but weirder.
The one on horses?
No, but that is another one. Anyway, the next member of your party is Robo. He punches with his robotic fist, but it also has a Mazinger-style rocket fist that flies off and punches people. And he also will tackle things. And he has built-in laser guns.
Yeah.
The next most important party member is Frog, who will use his tongue to either lick wounds closed, or use his tongue to wrap around an enemy and pull them close so he can slash with his massive broadsword.
Yeah.
After that is Ayla, who punches.
Now, the thing I want to mention about Ayla is that she does not get a weapon. Her fists just level up as her level does.
It takes a long time for her fist to upgrade, but then it becomes stone.
And she pretty much is just, when she crits, she hurts.
Yeah, she is your... If you want to just do pure damage, just pick her up.
Now, the side thing I want to mention for this is that you learn magic from the God of War.
At the end of time.
His name is Specchio, or Speckos.
By walking around his room 3 times, is it clockwise or counterclockwise?
I think it's clockwise.
Anyway, you walk around the god 3 times, and he teaches you magic. If you are organic and born after Lavos crashes into Earth. So Ada doesn't learn magic, and Robo doesn't learn magic. Robo can simulate magic with his laser cannons and whatnot. Ayla just punches hard.
Yeah, or summons a dinosaur tail to smack enemies. Or
just jumps on a guy and bites and scratches him.
Yeah, it's kind of those weird things that a lot of people have theories about Lavos being the originator of magic for the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of theories in this game, and they're pretty fun.
Yeah. But
yeah,
Specchio is the god of war, and as you grow stronger in levels, he changes his appearance to appear tougher. His ultimate appearance, a red gnu.
Don't start with the news. They're a whole kettle of fish we don't have time for.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you look it up, this is just weird.
Yeah, and this JRPG is just... Every character... You can basically make... eventually, at some point, you lose the ability... You can take Chrono out of your party and replace him with somebody else. So you're not always stuck with Chrono for the entire game. Near the end of the game, you can make a party out of any 3 combinations, and the game lets you do this. It does not, say, you do not have this character, the game becomes really hard. It is wise to have either Marl, Frog, or Chrono, because they're their only they're your only healers. But if you don't...
Robo, too.
I meant to say Robo. I don't know if I did or not.
Well, I know Chrono can learn a revive spell.
Yeah, he's not a very good healer, though. If I did say Chrono, I didn't mean to. But Meryl, Robo, and Frog are your only designated healers. But you don't need them in your party.
No, you still got plenty of items that you can use to heal.
Yeah.
To replicate the healer in the party.
Yep. So if you want to make a party out of Chrono, Ayla, or Luca, or the other character we haven't mentioned, Luca and Ayla, and have no healing abilities whatsoever, you can do that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I will say this. Once you play through the game, you get to the point, you'll recognize this optional character almost immediately.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
They have no healing abilities whatsoever, but they are very powerful in magic. They basically, So you can do whatever the hell you want. Actually, I think, doesn't Ayla have a healing ability?
I think she has Kiss, which does minor healing, but it's not her main priority.
Yeah. But yeah, you can have a team full of very poor healers, or you can have a team of all healers.
Now... Speaking of characters, despite not having the world's largest dialogue, it still gives the side character a lot of charm and insert personality.
Every single one of them has a main story attached to them and a couple of side stories.
Because while you're doing all this, you can bring all these characters back to meet Chrono's mom, and she just gives off this nice, warm, motherly nice to meet you vibe that she.
My favorite one is when you bring Ayla to her, and Ayla's wearing a fur bikini, and she mentions that you shouldn't dress like that young lady, and she's like, Chrono's mom's strong.
I still have the biggest question: how the hell nobody recognizes Marley as the princess? Like, she must have been kept in that castle for a while.
When she's in public, she wears a fake mustache.
No, she wears a trench coat and a fedora.
Hey, work for the turtles.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is a problem I have with that, but I can accept that because a lot of my problems I can hand wave because limitations of the SNES.
Well, the only way I can accept that is maybe she's being kept at the castle for her own safety because she's the only heir to the throne.
Yeah. We can fan wank a lot of things about this game, but a lot of it just comes down to this was the SNES. This game was already pushing the limits of the SNES. I
think because we can kind of fan wave it with better solutions, I think that's why we love the game too.
Yeah, but going back to pushing the SNES to its limits, the graphics in this game and the music are almost breaking the poor SNES, and they're both wonderful. If you don't like the 16-bit era, you don't like the 16-bit era. But personally, myself, I think this was the height of game individuality.
I think graphic-wise, it was a step over Final Fantasy XIV. That's a personal opinion.
You actually mean 14?
Or Final Fantasy 2 or 4, whichever one you go by.
Okay, that's what you meant to say.
Yes, that's what I meant to say. Whatever you consider, but I think it was a step over that.
Yeah.
But that's personal opinion.
Personally, I do agree. I think this is Squaresoft's prettiest game on the SNES.
I mean, you're not going to see any face details, but their animation to showing what their emotion they have is a lot more prevalent than in the Final Fantasy SNES games.
The backgrounds are also amazing.
Oh, they're so pretty.
The world map is amazing. And they even have animations of the characters on the world map if you stand around for too long.
Hey!
I will stand here and brood. But the music, this is where I go back and forth of, is this soundtrack better than Final Fantasy IV's, or slightly worse, or equal? But, oh my god.
I love some of the fan renditions of some of these songs, too.
Yeah, it's actually funny that one of my favorite songs in this game was never actually in this game until the DS version.
Which song is that?
Whistling Mountain, I think it is. Do 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 do.
Not sure. There's like so much good music in here. I can't really place all of it.
It's this nice somber sounding tune that they played for the DS version on a sad mountain.
Well, I'm just saying I am a huge battle music fan, and this is glorious for that.
I think Boss Song 2 is the best.
My other favorite one is the racing music from the one race scene you have in this game.
Yeah. Personally, one of my favorites is Magus's theme.
Yeah, he did have a good theme when you fight him.
But I like villains, so...
Yeah.
But I also like his counter's triumphant song, Frog's theme. That whistle in that song. How do you make a Super Nintendo sound like it's whistling? I don't know how.
Very good.
I don't know how, but this game makes me think of whistling every single time I hear it.
Yeah, especially with the fan renditions of this. It's just...
Yeah.
There's also... I had one of this, a violin. That's just like...
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
It's like sex in your ears. Although I will make this side tangent, Robo's theme, everyone says sounds like Rick Ashley is never going to give you up. I don't hear the two being the same song.
I never heard the second one, but I only know Robo's theme song.
You've never been Rickrolled before?
Oh, that, yeah. I don't hear it.
I don't hear it. People say they're the exact same song, but I'm just like, I don't.
That would have been the first time I missed out on what some people hear that I don't. So
yeah. So I guess we'll go with our other major problem, which is really, really nitpicky and.
Well, I guess we'll do that, and then we'll go what the other part of what every RPG should have.
Sure enough. Our biggest nitpick, well, my biggest nitpick, which is really, really stupid of me, is in combat, certain abilities are based off your location or the location of your enemies.
Or the alignment of the enemies.
And this actually means you have to stop and think, should I just do this to hit two enemies? Or should I wait for the enemies to dance around the field a little bit? You know, they might hit me, but they might get closer so I can hit 3 or 4 instead of 2. And I like that. You gotta stop and think and You could, it takes one of these attacks to kill a single enemy, but you don't have enough to kill all 5 on screen, for example. So do you wait to kill 2, or do you wait to just kill 1 and hope you get a thing to destroy your TP? And that's a lot of thinking, and then you level up and learn a spell that hits everyone on the field regardless of the location.
Now, that could have been easily fixed with like Chrono's first ability, which I think Whirlwind?
Cyclone? Or Whirlwind?
I think it depends on which version you're playing.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's pretty much an AoE, but it's a contained AoE. It only covers so much area.
He basically targets one enemy, and if another enemy happens to be near it, you'll hit both.
Yeah, or 4 or 5, however grouped up within that area.
Yeah, if they're like in a perfect cluster together, you can hit all of them at once. Yeah. He later gains an ability that fires a straight line from him to an enemy, and if there's any enemies in between or behind that one, you also hit them.
Yeah.
But then he learns a spell that shoots lightning on the entire field regardless of his location and the enemy's location. And you're like, why did you do the first thing?
Now, and then he just learns ultimate spell, which is pretty much leveling everything with death.
Yeah, so you're like, either go full hog with the first idea, or just do the standard with the second idea, where you have a lightning spell that hits 1, and then a lightning spell that hits 2, and a lightning spell that hits...
Or have the final spell cost all your MP. Because 20 MP is not that expensive with how many recovery items you get. Especially
if you give him that item that reduces his MP cost by 75%.
I never bothered with that. I gave him something else, but...
I gave that to another character so they could spam the dark version of it.
I just gave it to Marley so I would never have to worry about healing.
Fair enough. I'm more active in combat, I guess. But yeah, that's why'd you do that? Like, pick one or the other.
I mean, for the AoEs, you can just maybe have a bigger area than the previous one.
Which makes sense, but it goes pretty much from, for Chrono, 1 or 2, and like one enemy and the enemies nearby, to a straight line to his next attack that can hit multiple enemies to hit all. There's no, like, cluster effect. Like, Luca throws a bomb. It hits things around it. She later learns to throw a different bomb. Okay, that bomb could be bigger. But before she learns to throw that second bomb, she's already learned a spell that hits everything with fire.
Now, granted, the bomb is more powerful, but that's kind of a...
Yeah, it almost feels pointless, though. Yeah. So I personally would have liked if they ramped up or just kept coming up with different designs, and their final attack can cost a lot of MP, but guarantee to hit everything.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing, which is really cool. We're only complaining about it because we've mid-maxed this game so often.
Yeah, at the point we're at, we kind of pump up our characters without meaning to out of reflex.
Yeah. So these abilities you get are pretty cool, but then you find out that, hey, Luca could set Chrono's sword on fire, or Maro can summon a giant block of ice that then Ayla can pick up and throw really hard at enemies. They're combining their abilities to work as a team.
Which is called a tech combo.
Yep, so 2 people can use really cool abilities together.
And have a different effect altogether.
Meryl has an ability that distracts the enemy, and so does Ayla. But when they do it together, they steal from an enemy.
Mm-hmm. Or Robo and Marley can use their cure abilities together and heal the entire party for a lot of healing.
Yeah. Or
which even that gets redundant after Marley learns certain
Cure
spells,
2.
But
yeah, she learns Cure 2, which heals the entire party.
Does it cure the party, or is it just more regardless, at some point it just becomes redundant.
Yeah, they basically just... But then, what happens when all 3 work together?
Now, these are a glorious thing to watch.
Yeah.
But time-wise...
When Chrono, Luca, and Meryl combine their lightning, fire, and ice magic together, they create some sort of triangle of bubbling magical enemy that everything inside of it just gets wrecked. It looks really cool. But the thing is, there's a damage cap. And if your character on their own eventually can do 700, like all 3 of them can do 700 damage to a single target, and that combo attack only does 999, you're technically losing attack power by having all 3 combine their power rather than have 3 shots of 700.
Not only that, you have to have all 3 players active to move in order to activate it. You're also wasting more time than anything.
Yeah. Also,
early in game, these abilities are powerful and awesome.
But by the time you get the really, really fucking cool ones...
It's not worth it.
No. Plus, these animations for these triple attacks can be really long.
And some of them can waste an item slot on something that isn't worth it at the time.
Yes, some can only be used when you not only learn the attack that combines, but a certain character is equipped with a certain item and a certain weapon.
Yeah. But, like I said, they are glorious to watch, and if it wasn't for the damage cap, these things would be amazing.
Yeah, so we personally would like them to break the damage cap, give us a reason for doing these.
Yeah, but...
Or give us, like, some sort of additional benefit, like the entire party gets a status up.
You know what would also make it more challenging and fun if the enemies could do that?
Oh, yeah. Some enemies can.
Well, majorly bosses do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only prime example I have is the roly-polies and the imps.
Yeah, they're the only ones who can really do it.
Yeah.
There's one boss that jumps on another boss. Like, he has two beasts with them. He'll jump on one to increase his attack power and hit you fast, and then he'll jump off. But that's not really the same thing. That's the only thing I can think of. So it's not great. So I would like the enemies to do that. Like, I think the only bosses that really have own combos like that are the rematches with Magus's three generals.
Yeah.
Who, in the English dub, are named after famous...
We got Ozzy, Slash, and Flea.
If you don't know who...
Ozzy is kind of obvious in case you're not paying attention.
Slash should be pretty obvious, too.
Flea was a bit more of an out of reference for me. I didn't recognize that one.
Yeah, even I didn't get that, and that's my favorite era of rock music.
But
also,
if you're interested, go look it up. There's a lot of information out there. It's called the web. You can find a lot of stuff out on it.
Also, Ozzy gives you a pair of underpants you wear on your head. I don't know why.
I think it's a drunk reference, which, funny enough, when this game came over to America, they had to change a lot of things from the Japanese version. Pour
my favorite soda on my grave.
Yeah, like that guy's drinking soda.
Yeah.
Actually, it's supposed to be alcohol you're drinking instead of soup back in Alice at the time.
I figured as much. I think it was called Skull Smash, because your head feels like it's smashed.
Yeah. Now, this is also, despite that small problem, that's nowhere near enough to ruin anything about this game.
No.
Because this game has so many things that I think every RPG, Japanese or otherwise, should have.
Yeah. And it really should make you, like, the first thing everyone should have, it should make you really feel like you're connected with your party. It should have more
heart.
Downtime. Yeah, heart, and some scenes are just your party sitting down and talking to each other.
Some scenes are just personal for each character that the others are involved in.
Yeah. Sometimes, you get different dialogue depending on who's there. Like, I like that. Not every... You'd think, shouldn't that be obvious? Doesn't every JRPG...
For example, when you're going through Magus's castle, when you're going down this one hallway, characters from each different people show up in that hallway. Like, one is Queen Lena if it's Frog. One is...
Luca if Robo's there.
Yeah, I think it's Luca's mother if it's Luca, or is it her dad? I don't remember which.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah.
The king
Marley,
is there.
It's the king from 1000 AD, her father.
Yep.
And it's just one of those little touches that it depends on who you bring with you affects what's going on. It's not game-changing, but it's a nice little touch.
But oddly enough, I can think of a few times where modern games don't really do that extra touch because we don't really know what the person will pick. So let's just leave it generic. But when they do that, I immediately think back to, hey, that's what Chrono Trigger did. I like that.
Yeah. Now, the primary thing I personally think every RPG should have, after you complete the game, give a New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Now, what New Game Plus is, take everything that I had built up from my first gameplay and give it to me at the beginning of the game.
I don't like when they half-ass it. Like, you can pick all your equipment, but you start over at level 1. Why?
Because to me, it's not about being overpowered. It is fun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it lets me experiment and explore more throughout the game.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm not going about it to try and complete it as a difficult setting. I'm examining the game. I'm seeing what I can change. I'm seeing what other dialogues I can pull out of this game. I mean, granted, Chrono Trigger isn't exactly a hard game to begin with. Don't get me wrong.
No, and I actually think it's the perfect I think it's a perfect game to get new people into JRPGs.
I mean, another option. I'll add just things that we think should be added later, but But I like having the ability to having all that experience and weapons I build up to get other items. Like there's an option where you can get either 3 hats or a powerful armor. Now I can have both.
Yeah, I like that. And the thing is, if you do play this game enough, you can get everyone maxed out with all that stuff.
Yeah, it really lets you min-max this shit.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we, mid-max. But you don't even need to start mid-maxing. Before you beat the game, you probably are starting to break some limits.
Yeah.
And
Chrono's Rainbow is a very good example of this.
That pink sword.
That thing crits about as often as it regular hits.
And actually, I think it just crits more.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's just so much right with this game.
Mm-hmm.
But one other thing I love about this game is, like I said, near the end of the game, there's a side story for every character that not only powers them up or gives them a sweet weapon, but it wraps up their story in a nice way.
Robo's was very touching.
So was Frog's.
Mm-hmm.
It lets him, get over his grief.
I mean, Walt Marley's was kind of pretty generic. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it did close the door for her and her father's bad relationship.
Yeah.
Lucas was really goddamn touching.
Yeah.
The only one who really doesn't have a very good one is the optional 7th character.
But he's near high up on my list anyway.
No, I like his character, I like his abilities, but his story is meh. But bringing him along on the main story can lead to some very interesting dialogue choices.
Mm-hmm. One of the other things is that the multiple endings. Now, I'm not saying you have to go the full-out 12 that Chrono Trigger did.
No, but what we like about Chrono Trigger is once you've beaten the game, you can at any point fight the final boss. So if you beat the final boss when you're at such and such part of the story, it affects things. So if you beat the final boss right when you're about to help Ayla for the first time, dinosaurs win! So the timelines change, the dinosaurs are the major species on Earth.
There's even one where you can somehow change it that the royal bloodline is all amphibious. That was amusing because Marley was not aware of that.
No,
yeah,
then she broke.
The time travel thing is kind of used well and used kind of forgottenly at the same time.
Yeah. But this is the prime example of a counter-argument someone always says is that you should never write a story with time travel. My reaction to that is bullshit. You should if you want to, but rule 1, set your ground rules and never break them. Now this one kind of does, but
more so for comedic effect than really breaking anything.
Yeah, the only example where they really break it that bugs me is the very first time when you kind of get Meryl erased from time.
And there's a ton of fan theories explaining this. I even have one, but
yeah,
I'm not going to say it because I don't want to ruin anything that goes on farther into the show or the game. I mean,
yeah. And this is just an amazing, amazing game. And there is one other major problem that both me and Soul agree on. Mm-hmm. And it's not actually this game that's the problem. It got a sequel.
Aha. Now, let me just say this. As a standalone game, without trying to involve Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross is a standard fine game for a JRPG for the PlayStation.
I actually argue it's a garbage game.
But
that's me. That's me. If you like Chrono Cross, that's fine. But I don't.
The problem to me is when they try to involve the Chrono Trigger storyline. I think that's where everything in that game falls flat.
That takes a bad game, to me, and makes it just the worst kind of game. Well, no, not the worst kind of game, but the most disappointing kind of game.
Yeah. I may bring up Chrono Trigger and Wasted Potential, but that's a title for another time.
You mean Chrono Cross?
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, what this game really needs more than anything else is a true sequel.
Now, if you're into fan games,
there
technically is one. I'm trying to think of what the title was now.
Crimson Echoes, I believe.
Yes, Chrono Trigger Crimson Echo. It's a fan-made SNES graphics style game.
And it actually does deal with one of my problems I never even realized. It actually brings up a part of, is it ethically okay to change timelines? They bring that up as a major part of that game, and I love that game for it.
Yeah, from what reports read that there's a little less consistency with focusing on certain things, but Overall, positive reviews on that all around.
It was unfortunately cease and desist from Square Enix. It's totally not out there. You can't find it anywhere. I mean, the internet. Once something has been removed.
You're talking about the remake.
No. So once you put something on the internet, it can be easily taken off and forgotten forever.
Yeah, but the one that I think you're thinking about the remake that Square Enix kind of shut the hammer down on.
No, it shut down both.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn it.
There was a fan remake using 3D graphics that only got so far that was crushed before it was like 30% done.
Yeah.
But Crimson Echoes was basically told to cease and desist at 95%, and it totally didn't leak on the internet.
Oh, not at all. Get going.
If you don't feel like playing this game of Crimson Echoes and you've played Chrono Trigger, there are Let's Plays of Crimson Echoes.
Yeah.
Which is how I enjoy it, because I don't have a good enough computer to even run.
Yeah, once I get set up, I may even demo it on the channel on YouTube.
Whee!
I just gotta get certain things set up, and I'm trying to set it up so I can also get Chrono Trigger done as well.
Whee! But yeah, what else can we say about this game?
Now, don't like I was trying to say, don't get me wrong, you don't need 12 different endings to a game.
No, we don't.
Maybe like 2 or 3 optional ones to kind of try something different.
But make sure one of them's a joke ending.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite endings was the one where you get to meet some of the producers and get some dialogue from them.
Yeah, my personal favorite one will forever be the dinosaur one, because it makes no sense.
I like the Frog Princess because she didn't even realize it.
Yeah. And if you're going to play this game, if you want to pick it up, I recommend hunting down the Nintendo DS remake.
Mm-hmm.
It's by far the best version. It takes all the upgrades from the PS1 and adds like an entire bonus dungeon. Actually, several bonus dungeons for post-game.
There's even a place where you can raise monsters to fight like Pokemon style with other people on the system.
I rarely ever did that.
No, but it's still there.
It's still there, yeah. If you can't get that one, I've heard mixed things about the Steam version, which is based off the DS version, but I have not heard as many people
operate on a phone, so the program itself is kind of...
Yeah, the Steam version is the iOS version on a computer, and the iOS version is based off the DS one. So I do recommend the DS one instead. Pretty sure you can get a DS or a 3DS dirt cheap, and I see lots of used game stores having at least 4 or 5 copies of Chrono Trigger.
Which is a pity, because I don't know why anybody would trade that game back in.
Maybe someone got 3 copies for Christmas one year.
Possible, but...
I mean, that's happened to me once.
Yeah. But even if not, even if you're just interested, go look up a Chrono Trigger Let's Play, because it's a marvelous game. And
if we have not done enough rambling about this, there are several YouTubers who have done grand thesis on this game. This is one of the games that people do theses on. There's a review I saw of someone who negatively reviewed this game, but still spent 2 hours on it, and for the first hour he's gushing about the good things, and he still doesn't say this game is half as good as we think it is.
Dude, there's a fan theory out there that Chrono's God in that game.
That's stupid.
I know, but it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, there are, like I said, this is usually considered one of the greatest games by most gamers, and
for very good reasons.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who says, if you like something, you like something, regardless of how many people like or disagree with you, agree or disagree with you. But it's always nice to find out that something you love is beloved by everyone too.
Mm-hmm. And like we said, I personally think one of the best things about this is that when you find something that makes you go, how does this work? You kind of come up with your own fan theory that works. And sometimes you share it with people, and they agree with you or they disagree, and you have something to talk about, and you both enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Em have come up with multiple theories for a lot of this stuff.
We get bored easily.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just fun in and of itself.
Also, sometimes it's just easier to, ramble about theories when one of us is working, and everyone's like, oh, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
We both work very long, boring jobs. Mm-hmm. Love those jobs. I love my job, though.
I love my job, too. It's just some people just need to learn what they're doing.
Yeah, I just get lots of periods where I'm like, well, my paperwork's done. Cleaning's done. What do I do for the next 4 hours?
Hey, Em, here's a new theory.
Yeah! Huh.
Man, learn to swallow your spit.
Kermit the Frogging is very appropriate for Chrono Trigger. Someone who has got to have drawn the Kermit the Frog waving his arms animation, but with frog instead. I hope he's holding the sword in one hand.
And the shield in the other.
Yeah, yeah. Oh wait, that's one other tiny problem with Chrono Trigger. You never get to equip shields to the frog, but he's always shown in every animation having a shield.
Yeah, he does pull out a sword and shield, but he never...
Totally ruins the character.
I'm done with this game then.
1 out of 10.
Good night, folks.
Good night.